This is by far the worst tire I've ever off-roaded. I downright hate this tire, and that was even before it scared the hell out of me on a recent off-road run, and it's shredded in a way that makes you not want to trust this tire. Stick around. In this video, I'm going to show you guys what happened, my thoughts and review on this tire, and why after only 5,000 miles, I'm getting them off my truck. Oh yeah, and make sure you guys stick around to the end of the video. If you guys are in the market for tires, we partnered with Hammer Performance to offer our followers some deals. Tires are getting more and more expensive. 3 years ago, you can get a set of 37s for as little as $250 or as high as $400. Today, that same tire is gonna start in the high 300s and go well into almost $500 per tire. And that tire is gonna be in short supply. Material costs, rising inflation, oil keeps going up. The tire prices aren't gonna drop anytime soon. So when you're looking to spend your hard-earned money on a set of tires, you wanna make sure you're getting what you paid for. So what you see behind you are what's left of my KM3s. Currently, they only have about 5,000 miles on them, and they are a little bit older. Date code on these is 2020, specifically 7th week of 2020. I got this right at the beginning of 2021 as part of a 4-wheel parts wheel launch that they did in partnership with BFG. If you've ever seen a blue Gen 2 on 4-wheel parts advertising, that was my truck. That was a very fun shoot, but even from the get-go, we were having problems shooting that day. They wanted me to shoot a section in this nice little sandy part of Johnson Valley. They wanted that quintessential shot of the wheel flinging sand everywhere. It's a pretty cool shot that we ended up getting, but right from the get-go, the KM3s just started to get bogged down. MTs just don't do good in sand. And if you know anything about video shoots, you have to do everything over and over and over again until you get the right shot that's going to be appropriate for the advertising or to give the client a couple of options. And the more we did it, the rougher it got. I kept getting bogged down as we were going through the trail, and then eventually I ended up breaking my exhaust. That sucked, but it was still a fun day. Unfortunately, that day cost me money, even though I did get the KM3s and the wheels for free. So on the drive home from Johnson Valley, the tires drove me nuts. On street driving, you get a low hum that's just annoying. But on the highway, the noise is downright unbearable, especially over 85. That right there is 85. The whole cab is shaking. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Now, I rebalance the tires every tire rotation, and I try to do a tire rotation every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. But in general, off-road tires are hard to balance, especially in mud terrains. And also if you off-road, because if you off-road, you're chunking the tires, so you definitely need to make sure you're rebalancing them, and it's just impossible to keep an MT tire properly balanced. And that humming vibrates the whole truck, and it gets annoying on long runs. So we took the KM3s off the truck and we went back to our Teror Grappler G2s. Now we've had these much longer than the KM3s, and I really like these tires because they're a little bit wider. They're 13.5. They look a little bit more aggressive. You could pick your pattern. You can either pick the lightning bolt look or the fighter jet look, my favorite. Grip on these tires was very predictable. After running this for about a year or so, we ended up getting over 36,000 mile life on this tire. Very on par with my favorite tire, the Toyo RT. And with that mileage, they still had life left on them, just not for off-roading. I will say though that the noise on these tires was more than I expected, especially for an AT tire. This is definitely louder than a KO2, and it's a little bit louder than an RT, which was kind of surprising. You don't expect that from an all-terrain tire. But the longevity and the grip was perfect for Raptor off-roading, high-speed off-roading, so I would definitely buy these again. But my favorite tire and the one that I still recommend is the Toyo RT. Toyo RTs, they're like a hybrid tread. It's the best of both worlds. You get better grip like a mud terrain tire, so you get more grips on the rocks and on the slow stuff, but without the MPG hit you get with MT tires. And it's closer to an all-terrain tire, so it's great for gripping on sand, dirt. They do really well in the wet here in Southern California, though I've heard from you guys that they don't do so well on snow. We don't get much snow here in Southern California, so I would not know. And then finally, one of the main reasons why they're my favorite tire is they last. They have a warranty for 40,000 miles, and we got over 38,000 miles on my last set, and that was with heavy off-roading here in Southern California. And we could have probably got about 5,000 miles more on that tire if we just focused on street driving. But for off-road, they were done. similar to how our Teror Grappler G2s were done. Because my initial experience with the KM3s was not great, we went ahead and took them off the truck. For 2 years, the KM3s sat in my garage and to spares on my truck while I was running my Teror Grappler G2s. When the Teror Grappler G2s finally started to get pretty worn down, it was time to start looking at putting the KM3s on, and honestly, I didn't want to do it. I still remembered how bad that experience was, how loud they were, and I wasn't looking forward to it. So I started looking at tire prices, and I quickly decided I had no choice, right? Tire prices have gone up so much. It was almost $500 a tire. To save money, let's go ahead and put the KM3s on, and I immediately regretted my decision. They were louder than I remember, and the grip was so inconsistent on the trails. Let's talk tires for a little bit. Mud terrains are not the best tire for Raptoring, high-speed off-roading. You're averaging 45 to 65 miles per hour on the trail. You're primarily running on hard-packed dirt or sand, and for the most part, because of the speeds we're hitting, you want to be running a higher pressure. I run 28 to 32 psi on dirt and 40 to 42 psi on pavement. I've had 3 forged wheels over the years running 20 to 25 psi. And after following some advice from some race teams and then also looking at what they do at Raptor Assault, they run 28 to 32 psi on those trucks. I went ahead and raised my pressure and I'm able to control the truck better, and I haven't bent the wheel in over 3 years. High-speed off-roading is basically a controlled slide as you're driving through the desert. You're skipping over most of the obstacles. You're sliding through turns and riding a fine line between grip and drifting. An MT tire, in my opinion, introduces way too much grip, and it requires a whole lot more aggressive driving style, even more aggressive than me. Also, if you look at off-road race tires like the KR2, the Projects, and all that stuff, they're actually closer to all-terrain tread. And I personally was hating the KM3s, the mud-terrain tread, because of all the extra noise on the trail and just the unpredictable grip. Then came our Mojave run from a few weeks ago. We were on a Who Cares section of trail right after Aiken Cinder Mine. We were going down the slope, and this is the slope on the north side, not the south side. We were only going maybe about 20 miles an hour, trying to avoid some of the washouts. It wasn't rocky, it wasn't nasty. Initially, I didn't hear or feel the flat. I felt it in the steering wheel, so I checked my mirrors and I noticed that this side was off. Drove on it for about a few hundred feet, and at first I thought it was just gonna be a run-of-the-mill flat until I got out and looked at the tire. Damn KM3s. Yes, the tire did crack. That's fairly normal. I've had tires fail like that. These little cracks are fairly normal. I don't like seeing so many of them, but it just shows you that we drove 100 feet with it, right? This is fairly normal. While this sucks and it's crap to see a tire fall apart like that, I have seen tires fall apart like this when you go on high speed. What I haven't seen before, what scared me, is that the sidewall stayed connected to the cords and the tread separated from the cords. I've never seen a tire do that. It almost failed like a retreaded tire. Now, this is an older tire. It has a date code of 17th week of 2020. I got this in 2021. You look at the tire, there's no signs of dry rot. There's no cracking in between any of the treads. There was no cracking on the sidewall. So I don't know why this failed. My remaining 3 KM3s are actually still good. There's no dry rot on them, at least none that we can see. The 3 tires still relatively look like new. Yeah, they have about 5,000 miles on them. Some of it is off-road. There's no cracking, there's no damage, there's no extra signs to show that, you know, they were dry rotted or there was something wrong with them. If you look at them right now, they're just dirty from the last 5,000 miles of use. I did get them in 2021. They do have a date code of early 2020. So as of this video, they're about 3-year-old, but for the most part, they've either sat in my garage or they've spent some time in the back of my truck. And if anything, I probably abused my Teror Grapplers more than these, right? My Teror Grapplers were sun-beaten and everything. They were older too. They had a 2019 date code, and none of them had the same problem that these had, that are about a year newer. There's no signs of dry rot. There's no signs as to what could cause that. So I'm thinking that I just got a bad tire. Now, the way this tire failed makes me nervous. Imagine how much worse this could have been if we were going 65 miles an hour or faster on the trails. I have no trust in these tires, and I've honestly lost my trust in BFG tires altogether. I've ran a few sets of KO2s over the years on my Raptors, and I've hated it. And it's been a combination of D, E, and looks like C. Yeah, C-rated tires, depending on what came with the truck. My first set on my 2017 Raptor only lasted about 28,000 miles before they were done. My second set on my 2020 barely made it to 14,000, and they were bald at 14,000, so bad that the dealer actually warranty replaced 2 of them. And the KO2s, as they get older, as they age, they start getting louder too, which is weird for an all-terrain tire. They're also a little bit more slippery than I would like. The KO2 is a very low resistant compound that's designed to give you better fuel economy while at the same time giving you grip on multiple terrains. And we've heard from a lot of you guys that the reason why you like it is because these actually have decent grip on the snow. But in my experience, when it starts raining out here in Southern California, and it's pretty rare, these turn into slicks. It's very slippery. It's like driving on ice with these. As they start getting older, they start losing more and more grip, and it's downright scary to drive with these. These will last you on pavement, but off-road, within 14,000 miles, they're gone. So naturally, I think all of you guys would expect my next tire to be the Toyo RT. And yes, while I'm tempted to do that because it is my favorite tire and I've had the best experience with it, I'd be doing you guys a disservice if I didn't at least try another tire. And the next best reviewed tire that I found out there were these. These right here are the Thompson EXPs in 37 by 12.5. I know a lot of you guys recommended the AT tire. Some of you guys swore by the MT tire. I didn't want to go with another MT because of the noise, but I do like the hybrid tread. So I figured these would be a good tire to explore that came with a lot of really good reviews from folks. And these are very similar to my favorite tire, the Toyo RT. This is a hybrid tread. It's a very low weight tire. We weighed these, they weigh about 69.5 pounds, so about 70 pounds. Even though we have a weigh bill that said it weighed 63 pounds now, these weigh about 70 pounds, so it's a lightweight tire for what it is. They also have a similar tire warranty to my Toyo RTs, so they have a 40,000 mile warranty, so you know this tread's gonna last, so you're gonna get your money's worth out of this set. I'm excited to put these on the truck and try them out and see how they do, so let's get to it. Oh, and for anybody wondering the specs, again, this is a Baja Legend EXP, hybrid terrain, Mickey Thompson, 12.5 by 17, load rating D, and the date code on these is 31st week of 2023. We went to my local America's Tire to install them. Now, we're not sponsored by these guys, but I love America's Tire because they're everywhere. They have the best certificate warranty on the market. And even if you didn't buy from them, as long as the tires are new and they're within a year or two old, you can buy the certificate warranty from them as well on tires you bring in, as long as they're new. But they also have a couple other features, right? They have relatively low installation cost. You can purchase lifetime balance, which is very useful. You should be rebalancing your off-road tires every time you do a tire rotation, and you should be doing a tire rotation every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. You're going to be chunking the tires if you're off-roading it, so you need to constantly be checking the balance of the tires, and they offer a very cost-effective way to do that. Initial impressions, they do make a little bit of noise. Little. Not sure if you guys can hear it, so I got my trusty high-quality mic, but they do make a little bit of extra noise, which does kind of suck, but it's to be expected from a hybrid, right? Because a hybrid is a mix between a mud terrain and an all-terrain. It's kind of like the in-between. So it does make a little bit of extra noise, and you guys will hear it here in a second. Just like the M3s, it does start at about 30 miles per hour, but I will say it's nowhere near as loud. The KM3s right at 30 was obnoxiously loud. This is not obnoxious. So we're at about 60 right now. Unfortunately, we got some traffic. That right there's about 85. So you can definitely hear it. You can still feel it, unfortunately. But I will say it's not as loud. So we're gonna have to see how they do. Because the noise did drive me pretty nuts on the KM3s, and once they failed, I was like, I don't want them anymore. I think the next step for these is see how they do on dirt. I'm hoping that they perform just like my Toyo RTs. I'm hoping that they have really good grip, but also allow the slides and all the stuff that you need for off-roading. So we'll see. Overall, I'm happy with the new tires. From talking to the guys at America's Tire, they've actually never seen a tire fail like that before. They've seen the splitting and all that stuff like you would expect, but they've never seen the tread separate the way mine did. And again, that's what's making me nervous, and that's why I'm not going to be running the KM3s. And if you look at, when we looked at the inside of the tire, you can just see the splits, but you couldn't see the tread separating, right? The cords are still connected. It was the oddest thing I've ever seen a tire fail, and for that reason, I'm very nervous to run them. And I did talk to them, hey, so what's a good measure for for dry rot. And when we looked at the date code and all that stuff, he's like, yeah, 3-year-old tire, that's not enough time for it to dry rot. He looked at the other tires and yeah, there's no signs of dry rot on these tires, right? I had them take a look at them just to make sure that everything was okay with them. So we're gonna be getting rid of them. For those of you wanting to get them, I'm sorry, somebody's already reached out. We are gonna be selling them to somebody for very cheap. That person knows exactly what they're getting into. They're just happy to get a good deal. We have partnered with Hammer Built to offer you guys deals on all the parts we recommend here on this channel. I've always struggled with how to make money on this channel because I want to make sure that you're getting something for your money. So we partnered with Hammer Built to be able to sell you guys tires, and we got a pretty good deal on Mickey Thompson's going on right now. Unfortunately, I can't share that here because the deal is that good, but if you're in the market for tires and you want to get a good deal, shoot me your info, your name, the city you're in, your email address, and I can get you a quote, get you a pretty good deal on Mickey Thompson's right now, or any tire you guys want. Or if you guys want Toyo RTs, my favorite tire, if you guys want to get a set of those, we can hook you up to have it built. So make sure you guys shoot me an email, keepitdirtyoffroad@gmail.com. If you have any questions on tires or any accessories you see on this channel, we can hook you up. And that's one of the ways that you guys can support this channel. I'll be able to make a little bit of commission off of those sales, but it's a way for me to connect with the audience more, make a little bit of income, and hopefully try to get you guys a really good deal on parts. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Questions or comments below. Please consider subscribing, and thank you for watching. It's orange juice. I know you guys thinking this is some kind of, it's just orange juice.